Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way. Firstly, I have to apologise for the state of my hair because I've been wearing a beanie all day at Vicarage Road because it's been so cold and Baltic. In fact, I think actually outside my window right now it's actually snowing, which shows how cold it is in the UK at the moment. But before we dive into my quick thoughts on the match, I have to say, firstly, I hope Dan Bachmann is okay. He made a save at the very end of the game. Some of you guys might not have seen, as a lot of people were leaving at that time, but Sheffield United, and I think the 96th or 97th minute, went on the counter-attack. I think it was Callum O'Hare with the shot. Bachmann saved, went down, and clearly something happened, something twisted, because he was down for a very sustained and long period of time before being stretchered off. Now, from what I've read and from what I'm hearing, he's going to be out for, it seems, quite a prolonged period of time. The first assessment is that at the very least he's dislocated his ankle, which would mean, still quite a long period on the sidelines. A dislocated ankle tends to mean about 6 to 8 weeks. Or potentially even longer, of course, depending on speed of recovery. And of course, if it turns out he's damaged a tendon or potentially something even worse like an Achilles, for example, that could be season ending at this stage. So firstly, my thoughts are with Dan Bachmann. Yes, he didn't have a very good game today. I'm happy to sit here and say that. But what I'm not happy with certain Watford fans, and a lot of fans actually today who were in the Rookery, was the taunting of him in the first half. I know he made a lot of high-profile errors today, and he has done for a long time, especially this season. What isn't going to help him, though, is constant jeering and taunting from our own fans towards our own player from the stands. You have to understand that a player is a human being, and they are not going to react well to that. So, yeah, I wasn't happy seeing that. As a fan who sits quite near me, who definitely crosses the line when it comes to abuse to Dan Bachmann and his performances. So I think it's right I come on here and call that out, because I don't think that's acceptable. Of course, I can come on here and say he had a poor game, he should have done better, which I'm allowed to say. But veering into personal abuse and taunting our own player when they're trying to do their best for the club, I don't feel is the right route to go down. So I felt I had to say that. And also for people saying, they're delighted he's injured, whilst it gives other players opportunities, you can't be happy that one of your players has a season-ending injury, potentially. So I think everyone needs to take a hard look at themselves, understand that the person we're talking about here is a human being, and we want him to get better, as quickly as possible. And I hope Dan Bachmann has the right people around him to do that. Talking about the game, I come away from Vicarage Road, of course, very disappointed that we lost another home game. Of course, we went on such a great run in the last few months, going, so many months unbeaten at Vicarage Road, and to now lose 2 in a bounce, Cardiff City and today against Sheffield United, is obviously disappointing. The performance itself, I felt, was quite positive. I felt at times, actually, it looks like Watford were for once, a team actually challenging for a top 6 spot. We played some good football at times, especially on the counter-attack. It felt like Watford wanted to give Sheffield United a lot of possession, especially in the first half, and then utilise our quicker players on the counter-attack. Rocco Vata, Kwadwo Bar, Georgie Shafatatse, all linked up well in that first half. Of course, the Watford goal in that first half come from a very unlikely goal scorer in Jeremy Ngakia. A great ball in behind to Ryan Andrews, used his pace, a nice bursting run into the box. The ball across the box into Ngakia, where it was easier to score than miss. And Ngakia actually getting his first goal for the club today, which is great to see. I'm delighted for him on a personal level as well. Of course, we just mentioned Dan Bachmann potentially having a serious injury. Well, Ngakia has had his very own injury problems at Watford for a very, very long time, and actually you have to say is probably the best defensive fullback we have at the club. So to see him get a much deserved goal was really pleasing to see. The second half, Watford had a lot of chances. We probably should have equalised after Sheffield United went ahead once again for a very good strike. But yeah, on the whole, I'm coming away from Vicarage Road today not too disheartened. I felt like there was some promise in there. I felt like Bonner on his return calmed down the defence somewhat. Of course, I've mentioned Bachmann already. I feel like when he starts games for Watford, it already puts us at a disadvantage sometimes through his lack of concentration, composure. He just unnerves the back line at times, I think, Daniel Bachmann, as does Francisco Sierralta. You have to remember it was actually Sierralta who played the back pass into Bachmann for his big mistake today. Kayembe and Loser in midfield, didn't work once again. It was very easy for Sheffield United to bypass the Watford midfield, get into their attacking players, and very quickly, their attacking players were facing our centre-backs. Our midfield got bypassed very easily today, and I think Watford need to find a midfield partner for Imran Loser. That could be Tom Deli-Bashiru when he returns. It could be Pierre Duomo, who hasn't really seen any minutes from Tom Cleverley in recent weeks or recent months even. Pierre Duomo hasn't been given a look in for a very long time, so that needs to be solved. And I think, looking ahead to Fulham, some players are in desperate need of a rest. There's certain players that wouldn't play at all in the Fulham FA Cup game. Georgie, I would rest entirely. Kwadwo Bar, Rocco Batta. There's no need for me for these players to play against Fulham. I know it's nice to win matches. I know it's nice to test ourselves against a high level of opposition, Premier League opposition, good opposition as well, Fulham. However, the FA Cup, is not my priority this season. It shouldn't be Tom Cleverley's priority either. Our priority very much should be on the Championship and trying to achieve a playoff position with a very stretched squad at the moment. Some news to bring you as well in regards to the goalkeeping department before we go. Of course, we saw Daniel Bachmann go off, as I mentioned, with that serious injury. Well, news has emerged within the past couple of hours that Miles Roberts, on loan at Partick Thistle from Watford in Scotland, is going to be recalled and assessed in January to determine his future for the rest of the season. So, Miles Roberts from the Watford Academy. Could we see him competing for a goalkeeping place at Watford alongside Jonathan Bond? We'll have to wait and see, but that is breaking news after the game today. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments section down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.